Welcome to Lunchtime Talk at Advance Pro. I'm Israel Ellis, and today with me is Daryl Reed, one of our great inventory specialists, along with Yuri, who's joining us in satellite from our office in New York. And Yuri is going to help us along too today. How you doing today?
Doing good.
We're doing good, and we're all ready to talk Advance Pro?
Exactly.
Right?
Sure.
Yuri, all ready to talk Advance Pro?
Definitely.
So Advance Pro's got, I like to talk about Advance Pro, and I like to divide it into like five, sort of key areas, and that is inbound, such as receiving goods, outbound, goods going out, remote access, being able to work where you want, how you want, when you want, and intelligence in terms of real-time intelligence, so you can make the business decisions that are necessary to make to strengthen your company, and also integration. Advance Pro can integrate with third-party software, other type of softwares out there. For example, we sync directly with QuickBooks seamlessly. And today what we're going to do is we're going to actually focus on inbound, and we're going to focus specifically on the vendor purchase order process, which is a really important part of getting goods inside your warehouse, so you're going to be able to fill orders. And we're going to talk about what's behind that. And today we're going to show you a little bit of software, show you some techniques, maybe fill you in some information, and we're going to go from there. So, Daryl, what do you find when you're talking to customers? What do you think is the most important part of the whole inbound receiving process?
So I think, you want to have everything controlled in a central location. So I think one of the key things is the fact that Advance Pro controls all of the purchase orders in a central location. So you put everything in one database and all controlled there, and then it syncs.
It's all about intelligence.
Yeah.
It's all about having all that intelligence at your fingertips and having a streamlined solution.
Right.
And also what I really like about Advance Pro is that we've got sort of a one point of entry of information where every stakeholder along the way is contributing that information. So you might be in purchasing, and you might be making the decision that we need products to fill a forecast of orders, and I might be in the receiving area where I'm going to need to go into the warehouse and see what's coming in and be able to verify it. Yuri, what do you find is sort of critical to the entire purchasing process? What in your experience, what do you think Advance Pro's real strength is when it comes to that?
It really depends on the company that's using the software, but typically some people purchase items based on customer demand, and some purchase to replenish inventory on constant basis. So it really depends on what their processes are. But for them, Advance Pro offers both options and provides detailed explanation of which items needs to be reordered at a certain or a given time. And if we're talking about a customer who's using or whose industry depends on-demand inventory, then it's also an option through Advance Pro, because it offers that functionality as well.
So I guess it all starts with products.
Right.
And why don't we, talk a little bit about products and what goes into setting up a product, because, in order to order our inventory, we've got to have products. And maybe, Yuri, you could show us how you'd set up a product in Advance Pro, and we'll go from there.
Sure. We can discuss the option of adding a new product, and it's as simple as clicking a link right here to add new product, or just go to the product switchboard, and the same option would be available from there. So
I love the fact that Advance Pro's got such a great dashboard that you can just sort of go on. And now with my Windows 8 computer, I can just sort of touch things, and things happen, and I don't have to worry about keyboards. And through our cloud connection, I'm able to actually use my my tablet when I'm walking around the warehouse, and I can actually add things on the fly. But sorry, go ahead, Yuri.
Sure. As you mentioned, you do have multiple points of access to the same screen, so you can it can be your preference as to which one works better for yourself. Now, in order to add a product, all that's required is just the product name. So I'm just going to call it a product. and an SKU. So for easier reference, again, I'm going to use the SKU as the reference. But these two are the main points required to save the product in the system. There are obviously additional information that can be used with the product as required. In order for you to purchase the product, you do need to assign a vendor to it. So
I just saw on that screen that we also had, you know, an opportunity to put a description into a B2B description and a B2C description. That's got to do with our web services, which is also an incredible advantage to AdvancePro. The fact that you can have your products on a shopping cart that we host, and it just immediately goes and works into AdvancePro, so that you, as Joe customer, is going ahead and inputting an order about that particular product, and it just streamlines right through into our ordering system, which is, you know, one of the most powerful features of AdvancePro.
And it's also important to note that the software itself controls that website. So you enter the software here. You don't need to go into a website and you know, no HTML or anything like that. You put in a description here, and it uploads up to
and all
the
this
website.
information that I think that what we're doing, we're entering in this information into the product information portal, and all that information, it proliferates right into all the other areas, like right into the website. It just uploads it, so you don't have to. And that's a big thing about AdvancePro, is the idea of getting away from redundancies, getting away from inputting information more than once. But let's continue.
Sure, and since you mentioned web services, I wanted to mention one more, which is the sales rep website, which is not listed right here, but it's also an option with AdvancePro.
Okay, great.
All right. Now, if you would like to purchase this item from the vendor, we do need to assign a vendor. So to do that, you first have to create a vendor in the system, which is as simple as we're adding a new product. You just add a new vendor, and to do that, you just go to the vendor switchboard, add a new vendor, and it's just a matter of entering the related information. Which is similar to the product screen that you see right here.
And it's all easy to use. It's all very intuitive. It's very user friendly. I mean, people don't have to be worried that, I don't have a background in computers or whatever. I mean, if you use QuickBooks, or if you use most type of user friendly, intuitive type of technologies, I mean, this is just, you know, we get raving reviews from our users about how easy AdvancePro is to use.
Sure.
And here I see you've got a list of vendors.
Right, so as you click on assign vendors, the vendors that you do have in the system that already been created previously would show up here in the list. And you can associate a single vendor or multiple vendor if you purchase the same item from multiple vendors. That's
so easy. It's fantastic. That's great. So, I mean, you know, we could, I mean, just do a session just on creating a product. And that's not what today is about, and we're going to definitely get to that. We're going to talk. We'll create a whole session just on doing that. But really, what I want to talk about today is actually after we've gotten the product, and that's the first thing. But is to get our product into the system, because we can't order product unless we've got product entered. So let's assume for the most part that people understand that, and let's talk about inventory planning for a second. We've got a tremendous array of reports that are available, so that I've got real-time intelligence that I can make decisions about replenishment. Because, you know, one of the things is that if I've got different types of timelines in terms of when my orders are coming in, so I could have an order coming from you know, across the street where I could order it today, it'll be here tomorrow. That's not a big concern to me. But what happens when you've got product that's coming from overseas, and it's like, you know, a 30-day production time, and then another 30 days in the water, and then you want to give it about 15 days. You're planning like, what is that, 60, 75 days forecasted out. So I guess if I'm forecasting 75 days out in terms of my production time, I want to know what my sales history has been the last 75 days, so I know where my replenishment point is. And that's what we're talking about, intelligence over here, so we can do proper inventory planning. You know, what do you think, Daryl? How would you do your inventory planning? What would you look at?
So I think that's important. I mean, you know, being able to pull out your order history, being able to pull out your sales figures, and then you know, use that information to know that, okay, I have a busy season coming up. Last year I sold, you know, a lot more of this between June and August. And so we better get some product.
You got to account for it, otherwise heads are going to roll.
Exactly.
You got that order that's coming in, and there's no inventory to fill the order. And you know what happens is, not only is it a problem because you're losing money, right? And we're talking big dollars, especially when you go into your busy season, you realize that you're short. because you haven't done the right analysis. And a lot of times people don't do the right analysis because they don't have the right intelligence, the right tools to do those analysis. But we're also talking about costs. I mean, look at the costs. I send you an order. I've got an order in the system, and we're going to talk about customer purchase orders and how we fill orders at another time. But I got an order, and it goes to the back, and there's no inventory in the back.
Right.
And what's going to happen? And then it takes like a week until the guy knows, and you got to get back to the customer. And you know what we're doing? We're chasing orders. We've already sold the order, and we're out there chasing orders. And you're going to hear this from me time and time again. But what I want to do is I want to turn your staff, your users that are using Advance Pro, we're going to turn them from administrators into revenue generators. And that's a big part of Advance Pro. So, I mean, let's go and talk about reports, Yuri. I mean, we've got all sorts of reports. Let's maybe talk about a net movement report that'll tell us a little bit about how many goods we've consumed over a period of time.
Definitely, but since we're already on the view all product screen, I do want to show the eye,
Okay.
which allows you to see the various transactions per product. So in this case, since we just created the product, we don't have any history, but just as a quick overview, you would be able to see if this product exists on any open vendor orders, if it's being requested by any custom orders, what your reserves are, and of course the complete history for this item would show up here.
That's
as well.
great, and that's just that's
One
right at
click.
your fingertips.
One click.
That's right there. I mean, you could be looking at a product, and there you go into the eye. Let's see a picture of that eye right over here. I don't know. We can't really focus in on that right now. We're going to get to that, but you know that eye really is what it's about. It gives you an eye into the history, into what's going on with the product in the
insight.
future.
It's
and,
insight.
And you know, the truth is that inventory planning can be done in reports, it can be done, but it's also being done right at your fingertips, right in real time, right there when you're placing that order. So let's actually get into what we want to talk about today at lunchtime at Advanced Pro Tech. And I like that lunchtime. Do you like that?
Yeah, that's good.
Have you had your lunch?
I have not.
I have not had my lunch either. Have you had your lunch yet?
I haven't yet. No.
Okay, so we're talking lunchtime in Advanced Pro Tech, but none of us have actually had our lunches. Jody, have you had your lunch? No, Jody has not had his lunch. It's our producer, Jody, but the idea is you can't see Jody.
Right.
That's the whole thing. He's the mystery guy.
He's the
over
mystery
here.
guy behind
Okay,
the scenes.
So let's get into it. Let's do a vendor purchase order. We call it VPO for short. It's an acronym, vendor purchase order. That would seem pretty obvious there. And we're going to start now, and we're going to create our vendor purchase order. So Yuri, you take it away.
All right. So again, similar to the product setup, multiple options are available either through shortcuts, drop downs, or the main switchboards. But it's a simple matter of just clicking to get to the vendor order placement. So the first step would be to actually select the vendor. If you can see the list of complete of all of the vendors that you have in the system, you can select the vendor or just do a search, which will bring up the related vendor for you. You can associate a PO number, and as you proceed, you'll be able to add the products that you have associated with that vendor. Now, the product that we did, we're able to add either by SKU, product name, or other criteria such as UPC, serial number, etc. Now, in this case, we know what the SKU is, so which in fact is called the SKU. So we're able to add the product right away just by entering the quantity or keeping it at 1.
That's great.
If I just click on add, that adds the item to the order.
That's really easy. You know, that's what I love about Advanced Pro. It's so easy to use, but you know, you can also just put in a number. If let's say your SKU is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you know it's 1, 2, if you put in 1, 2, all the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5s are going to come up.
Absolutely.
And so it's got that, what do you call that? Drop-down box intelligence?
Just
What
an
would you call it?
autocomplete type thing. Yeah.
Very intuitive. Yeah, sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
And you are correct on that. We do have the smart drop downs that will bring up the closest criteria based on your based on the text that you enter. Okay, so if you don't know what your SKU is for any reason, then you can just click on the product selector, which will bring up all of the items belonging to this vendor. In this case, it's a test vendor, so as you can see, it doesn't have any other product assigned to it other than the item that we have just created. But if you had multiple products, then you would just add those to the order and process to the warehouse. Again, you can make changes to the vendor order based on some of the adjustments, such as the quantity, the price, which is the cost for the vendor that you have to pay in the end. You can also add shipping, adjustment, apply taxes, etc. And then you would send the order.
Oh, before you send it, Yuri, just talk a little bit about the expected date and the ship date, because I think those are two pieces of information that our users use a lot.
Sure, you can definitely specify the ship date. When your vendor is going to ship the order, and the expected date is when you should receive the order. These dates can be referenced on the reports or on various sections of the software that can provide you with greater detail as to when to expect a particular item.
And I see you can also direct where it's shipping to, because I see we've got multiple warehouses here, and that's what happens too. You can have in a national business, you can have a warehouse in California, a warehouse in Cleveland, and to cover the East, and so we don't always ship one container to one warehouse and then split it up. What this does is it allows us the intelligent tools to determine which warehouse we're going to ship to. Tell me, Yuri, can we change any of this information once we place that order?
It really depends on what type of information you're trying to change. Some of it, yes, and some of it, no. So it really depends on, again, on the case-per-case basis.
And it also depends also on your permissions. I mean, Advance Pro is a permission-based system. And allowing people the opportunity to, as an administrator, I can say, I don't want Daryl to do that. How often do I say that?
Way too often.
Okay, so fine. So, but the thing is, I might not want Daryl to, be able to make a change to certain information or, add a warehouse or things. But that's roles and responsibilities within an organization allows us to do checks and balances and keep controls. And that's a big thing about Advance Pro, where we're keeping the controls of the business where they need to be. And people who need to see things, they see them, and it's a need-to-know basis sometimes. And that's the way business runs. While we want to share our vision and share our information all over the place, we also want to make sure that our information is secure and not just anybody can change that information.
Right.
So, sorry, go ahead, Yuri.
All right, so as you've selected the warehouse to receive to, you're able to process the order, and which is then sent to that particular warehouse, expecting the items to be received. Now, once the order has been saved and processed, you just go to the warehouse section, which in your case, I'm assuming would be the actual warehouse personnel would go to the warehouse section, and they'll be able to receive orders that are currently pending, and that could be done by warehouse or by user, etc. So if we're looking for that particular vendor order that we've placed, which is number 3 in this case, you can see just by looking on this screen, you can see the order status, meaning that at this point none of the products have been received, and you can also partially receive the order, which I'll show you in just a minute.
So that's great. I mean, again, Advance Pro proves itself to be such an easy-to-use program, and the other thing is that it's a dashboard program. So from an intelligence point of view, here I am. I'm at my summer home where I should be going to today. All my kids are off school right now. It's that time of the year, and I should be going up to the cottage. But you know what? Actually, what I like about Advance Pro is I use Advance Pro because Advance Pro allows me to focus on what's really important in life. And what's really important for me is to be able to spend time with my family, but at the same time, the reality dictates that I need to be in touch with my business. And the thing is that remotely I can go ahead and get into Advance Pro, open up my dashboard, and I can see right here I've got 3 shipments that are on the water that are coming in.
Exactly.
And I might call Neil in the warehouse and say, Neil, what's going on, dude? Have you got those? Is that shipment come in yet, or whatever? And it gives Neil a different perspective because he's only got access. He may not have access to how much the inventory is costing me, but he'll have access to actually what's coming inbound into his warehouse, and it's just the ability to communicate and collaborate and achieve clarity and drive success. That's what really Advance Pro is about.
And because you've entered these expected dates into the system, when something is late, and you can start acting on it.
I'm going to get on that phone right away.
It didn't come in. Why not?
That's right.
You can go find out why.
We'll do more than find out why. Heads roll. Okay. So let's talk about one of the things, Yuri, when I receive product, and I know it's really, you're going to show us how easy it is to receive the product, but it's always bothered me. It's not just the cost of the product. It's also the cost of what it's taking to bring that product in.
Right.
My landed costs. Because I've got so many other things that are going on here. I've got freight, I've got duties, I've got warehouse fees. There might be other services that I can't think about. And when I receive that product, I want to be able to track those fees. And how am I going to? You're going to show us how to do that, Yuri, when we go through that process?
It might be. I'm gonna try to explain how that feature works. I don't see it being enabled on this particular computer.
So we're
at
going
the
to get
moment.
back to that. But the nice thing is that when we receive all the products, we're able to actually assign all the freight, all the
Absolutely.
different values. And the nice thing is that we can go ahead and that will bill right to the third party through QuickBooks. So it's not like we're entering in those bills. We call that third party billing straight through Advance Pro. So tell you what, that really is another great feature of Advance Pro, and it's going to take a whole other session, I think. Another
we should
lunchtime,
focus
because
right on
I am
landed
getting
cost.
really hungry. I'm getting really hungry. So we're just going to move on. Let's receive the goods and let's put them into stock.
Sure, but just for a second, going back to the landed cost feature, not only you can charge your sorry, not charge, but bill your third-party vendors, but you can also bill the same vendors that are shipping the product. So you have two options there.
Right.
Now, going to the receipt of the items, it is as simple as just entering the quantity of the items you want to receive, which in this case is quantity of 1. But you can also just click on Receive All, which will populate all of the items based on the complete quantities that are pending receipt. And you can also partially receive. For example, if this were 10, you can receive 5 items, leaving the other 5 pending receipt at a later stage.
And not to throw in another complication, but all this could also be done on mobile scanners and other barcode scanners.
That's right. And you know what?
So-
Advance Pro is just about to release a mobile scanner where we take the information that you're seeing here, and sometimes this can be a little overwhelming, when you're in the warehouse and you're sort of on a forklift or something like that, where you have to take out that, a lot of information. It's a lot of real estate to put on a screen, and we're coming out with a device right now where I understand we'll be able to operate Advance Pro from simply 3 buttons on a smartphone. And just unbelievable ingenuity that's coming out of this company. So the fact is that soon when you receive goods, you're going to be able to receive them. You can receive them on your smartphone. You can receive them on your iPad, on your tablet. You could, have a funky computer like this. Look at this. It's like when you bend your elbow, but you can turn this into a tablet. It's unbelievable what they're coming out with today. I feel like I gotta go like this and ooh. Okay, that's no good. All right, but anyways, go ahead. Yeah.
Let's receive it.
Sure. You can also use the scanner functionality within the software itself to be able to scan the items in as you receive them. So if you don't have the option of purchasing, let's say, maybe an expensive scanner or a cheaper option, which could be an iPad or any other available devices, you can also use the desktop version of the software to be able to scan the items in as you receive them.
That's fantastic. And you know what? I mean, we deal with a lot of sensitive clients. I think we have a lot of medical clients, medical device, and we have electronic clients. Medical device companies, they really need to keep track of every item that comes in the door. And they do that with lot numbers, and they do that with serial numbers.
Exactly.
And what do you find? I mean, do you think that's a real helpful?
I think it's critical in many industries because you need to be able to track things for recall purposes, especially in food or medical devices. If something goes wrong, you need to know exactly where that piece of equipment went, so you can go back to them and and you have that full audit trail of exactly the whole history of this particular product, these particular lots.
Sure, that's critical. It's critical in business, especially. I mean, you hear about all these recalls, and suddenly there's a recall, and it's gone to 3 or 4 different hands, and the health department wants to know exactly what the history was of that product. And the fantastic thing is Advance Pro brings that right, all really easy, all that information, all that intelligence at your fingertips. And I believe, Yuri, we can do serial numbers, right, when we receive goods.
That is correct. And what I just did while you were discussing the options available in the
Yapping
software,
away.
I just clicked on the LS icon, which represents the serial numbers or lot numbers, and I basically just scanned in the serial number. And there you go. It's just a simple matter of scanning them in. Or the system has also capability of creating a batch of serial numbers if necessary.
And when I sell that product, how does that work?
So as you sell the product, you have an option of associating that serial number that you have in your inventory, and therefore as you sell your items, this provides greater detail in terms of warranties, in terms of let's say items that have been damaged, or if
That's
we're
great.
talking
So-
about if we're talking about medical products, then in medicine, certain batches can be defective, so those can be recalled.
So we're
based on serial
taking we're taking products. I mean, Advanced Pro is working right from the factory floor right to the customer door, and then if we got to bring it back to the factory floor, we can bring that specific item back there. Advanced Pro really is a phenomenal technology, especially when you are a company that is accountable for the products that you're selling, and you need to track those products every step of the way. So if you're a company out there that is in a type of industry, a type of vertical that requires that kind of sensitivity and handling, you know, Advanced Pro is such an easy software to use that just makes it so easy to track all that stuff. And wow,
Absolutely.
whew, I can breathe. I can sleep at night. I know where all my needles are, or whatever it is that I'm tracking, my little medical device. Because today, you know, it's unbelievable. But today, it's a huge market.
Absolutely.
Biometric devices, biomedical devices, and it's not just stuff that's given to you at the doctor's office. You walk into pharmacies with prescriptions. You can take home blood pressure machines and. You know, and I think we handle some of those clients. Some of our customers, they deal with that.
Yeah, we do have some medical device companies that use our software, that track everything throughout the whole process. We have some that just, you know, a piece of equipment goes to a particular facility for a short period of time, comes back through our return system,
And that's like
then goes back to another. And, you know, after
asset
10
tracking,
years, you don't know where it is, or you need to know where it was and where it has been, and you've got all that information inside of Advanced Pro. It's really, really cool.
Right. If they could
Really
track
cool.
me and to see where I've been,
might be
I
the
don't
NSA's
want.
job.
I don't know if I want that out there. I don't know. That's not cool. So what's happened? So Yuri, we brought in the product and we've posted it to we've whatever we've done lot numbers, serial numbers, but now I'm putting it in my warehouse. And
Right.
I've got a big warehouse where I gotta have a location for that product, don't I?
Right. So you're able to associate a picking location here at this point, and well, we do have to create locations to begin with, but at this point you will be able to either assign locations or you would be able to create a new location at this point as well.
So that's great. So when I go and I'm again on my forklift, or I've got an order, because you know Advanced Pro is great at bringing those customer orders to you, and I'm looking for where that product is. It says right on my customer purchase order, and we're going to get into this. We're going to tell you all about customer purchase orders in another lunch at Advanced Pro after we've eaten something. But it'll tell me exactly where the location is, so I'm not running around the warehouse.
It'll tell you where it should be, and it'll tell you all the other options that it could be.
How many people do you go and see where they're eyeing their inventory?
Way too many.
Right, and
they're
they-
walking down and they're looking
walking-
for stuff. They're spending time searching the inventory.
I got an order for something. Where is it? They can't.
They're moving around six things before they can find the thing that's
It's
behind.
taking them like a half hour to find like a 25-cent item. It's like crazy.
Exactly.
You know what? Why don't people use Advanced Pro? They should be using Advanced Pro for this stuff.
Be queuing up to use it.
So anyways, we've now added the inventory. What does it look like on our inventory intelligence? You know, if I want to see what I got in stock now, I've now brought that product in. How's that going to affect me now?
All right, so we've just received our inventory, and
Great.
if we were to go to manage inventory screen and look up that product, and in this case the SKU, so we can see that now we have one in stock,
Okay.
and we can see information specifically per warehouse. and we can also see
What the
additional
history.
details based on the eye.
Fantastic.
Again, similar throughout the application, wherever you see the eye, that offers the additional details.
Again,
for
what a
that
powerful software. But you know what? I think we missed something here. We didn't accept the bill. Did we receive a bill?
We didn't yet.
Okay.
So based on the receipt, the system creates a bill for you for the items that were actually received, and you don't necessarily need to finalize the bill right away. If you are not receiving the bill with the shipment, sometimes the bill comes later depending on the vendor or the procedures that you follow. But your vendor, once ships you the bill, you'd be able to review it just by going to vendor switchboard.
That's great. You know, we're running out of we're running out of a little time. I can hear Daryl's stomach is starting to growl a little bit here, and I can hear yours from New York, and we don't want to take any away from their lunch times, but you know, I know one thing about accounting because I spent some years in accounting, and a lot of people make the mistake that they take a purchase order and they input that into their accounts payable, and that's what they end up paying. We don't pay on purchase orders. We pay on what's been received. Whatever passes through your warehouse in Advance Pro, that's what you pay for. You don't pay for goods that you haven't received. You're paying for goods only that you have received. And that's the beautiful thing about this control process, because you can only create a bill for what you've received. Now on the administrative side, your bookkeeper, your accountant, could be your wife, whoever is handling your books at the time, and they open up, they get a bill, they open it up in the mail, and they can now see in their accounts payable, because Advance Pro syncs with QuickBooks and syncs with other programs, and it'll take the bill and it'll upload into your accounting program and create that accounts payable. You don't have to sit there and re-input that again, another redundant effort that Advance Pro really saves on. And so what you're doing is it's fantastic, because you've got that information in front of you and you're not going to overpay. You've got the controls in place because you know that those goods have been received. Someone else has already verified before that purchase order was placed. They verified that you're paying $1.26 on each item. So all the information, Advance Pro is what you use to pay your bills. All the information you need for controls and practices are in Advance Pro. Companies run into this all the time, where they get real confused. They get confused about how many items did I order, how much did I pay for it, did we really receive those? I've got a bill for 29, I'm showing that we only received 28. And the nice thing too, and we're going to talk about this another time too, but you've got to remember that when you look at our vendor purchase order process, you need to ask about the note system, because you know, when you're receiving at the warehouse level, you can write notes.
Exactly.
And those notes are...
You could say 3 were damaged.
How many times...
You know, you can put in that kind of information. And that's right there. And then when the bookkeeper or whoever, the accounting person comes in and sees, they're like, all right, well, we're not paying for broken stuff. So they make the adjustments right there.
And when do problems happen? When not problems happen, but when do people find out about problems?
I mean,
not the day it happens.
Not normally, not without Advance Pro.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying when there's a problem in the system, it usually comes up when there's a problem with your products or inventory. That comes up 2-3 months after the fact. Who remembers what happened on that, you know, sunny Tuesday afternoon when that truck pulled up late? But you know what? Advance Pro does. I mean, we've got a system where we receive the inventory in and where we take notes, and any problems right there, we can upload whatever information we have to upload into Advance Pro. It's just fantastic. I got to tell you, there's so much more that we can talk about. We can talk about storage, and we can talk about, you know, keeping track of our inventory, but I think we covered a lot today. And you know, just to review what we covered, we talked about, you know, inbound, which is critical to your business, because you don't have a business unless you got goods coming inbound. You can't ship orders unless you've got products in storage and you know what it is that you're going to be able to ship out today. We talked about inventory planning. We definitely talked about how to place a vendor purchase order. We talked about third-party billing and being able to sync with the QuickBooks in terms of accounts payable, creating accounts payable about that third-party billing. And I think that we're going to show screens about that. We're going to do I'm going to make a note now that the whole third-party billing, the landed cost module, which is a fantastic feature that we've just released recently, we're going to make that into a separate show, because I think that's really critical. So we really talked about a lot. Yuri, I got to really thank you. Don't go away just yet, but I want to thank you very much for your time. and Daryl. So first vodcast.
This is it. The
First
one.
podcast. You here? You seem pretty comfortable.
It's fun
good?
stuff. It's good stuff.
Okay.
Just got to do it after lunch next time.
Right. You're a little bit hungry here, and that's why we're rushing through this, because we know that you're hungry too. But we also know that you're anxious to go out and to learn about Advance Pro, because really a lot of people have Advance Pro.
Yep.
And they're just not optimizing it.
That's another thing. That should be another session. Optimizing it.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And that's why we want to do these types of podcasts, because we want you, the customer, and the user, and the potential user, and I don't know, the boyfriend, girlfriend, everybody that's involved. We want you to have a better quality of life, because that's what Advance Pro is about. Advance Pro is about not spending your time getting stressed out at the office and try to figure out your business. You got enough to worry about. You've deserved it. You've built a successful business. You deserve some time off. We want you to use Advance Pro to increase your quality of life. And that's what this is about. It saves time,
Exactly.
right? No redundancies. What else?
It lets you take control.
It lets you take control.
Exactly.
Advance Pro lets you take control of your
inventory
management. That's
Exactly.
right. So I think that's it. That's all we've got time for today. And I want to thank you very much for joining us at Advance Pro Technologies. This is Israel Ellis.
Daryl Reed.
And Yuri.
Take care. Have a great day.
Thank you.